Good grief. That's it. There's absolutely nothing that I have left. I fear that this is the end. When you experience a traumatic loss, oftentimes what you're left with doesn't seem to be enough to survive. Where you once saw a nice loaf of bread, you now see crumbs, and you think, there's nothing that I can make of this. I don't see how any beauty can come from these ashes. And on top of that, the world still makes its demands. There's still a job you have to go to. There's still children you might have to raise. There's still grocery to get, cooking to be done, laundry to be done, bills to be paid. Nothing lets up. Yet you feel exhausted. You feel at your wits' end. There's no energies, there's no materials, there's no supply of where you think you can move forward in life. This is much like the widow in Zarephath. In 1 Kings 17, verses 8 through 15. God tells the prophet Elijah, hey, go to Zarephath, and I have a widow there who's going to feed you. And Elijah goes, and lo and behold, he comes upon this widow. And the widow is picking up sticks. And he asks her for some water. She goes to get the water for him. And as she's about to bring it to him, he says, hey, while you're at it, bring me some bread in your hand. And this widow says, hey, as the Lord your God lives, I ain't got nothing but a little bit of flour and a little bit of oil. I don't have enough to feed anybody else. All I have is enough to make some for me and my son that we may eat and then die. Elijah looks at her and he says, do not fear. Do not fear. Do as you said you are going to do, but bring me a piece of cake first, and then feed you and your son. For the Lord says that your flour will not be spent and your oil will not empty until the day of rain. And her household ate for days on days on days. Y'all, those of us who are grieving loss, we're much like this widow. We look at our circumstances with face value. And oftentimes, because we're looking through the lens of destitution, of grief, of sorrow, of depression, of anger, we build these negative realities. We build these anxieties that are probably never going to materialize. We always see the cup half empty, and we can't fathom even filling it back up. And this is rightfully so. Yeah, you had a traumatic loss. It hurt. It may have felt like failure. And it's hard to get back up after a loss. But y'all, we have got to stop creating this false evidence that appears to be real. Look, this right here, we know what it is. At face value, it's an apple. We can all agree. Nobody is not saying that this is what you're left with. We can all agree this is what we have. And in this case, we have this apple. But guess what, y'all? There's so many possibilities for this. We can turn it into applesauce. We can make some butter with it. We can chop it up and top our oatmeal with it. We can fill a pie with it. We can have it for breakfast. We can have it for a snack. We can cut it up and share it with one or two more people. The possibilities are endless. And on top of that, when we cut this apple open, we can get to the seeds that can be nourished, the seeds that can be planted, that can produce fruit for days upon days upon days. You have got to stop looking at your situations with face value. You have got to be creative. There's things that you can make. There's nurturing to be done. There's seeds to be planted. There's fruitfulness to be had. There's beauty in your ashes. There's purpose in your pain. Y'all, when I look at this story of the widow, there was nothing said that a miracle was done. Elijah didn't touch her, didn't go in her house. He knew nothing. He just told her, hey, the Lord says the flour's not going to run out. The oil's not going to run out. You're going to be able to eat, basically. But he didn't tell her how. Maybe, just maybe, the widow found a stash of flour and oil that she had put back for a rainy day. Maybe a neighbor heard of her situation and brought over some supplies. Maybe someone gifted her son with a basket and he brought it home the next day. Who knows? We've got to stop taking ourselves down these dark what ifs and think about what can be. You know, Dr. Tony Evans says it best. He says, you got to believe before you see. Basically, we've got to learn to speak the substance of things hoped for and believe in the evidence of things not seen. We've got to have faith, y'all. We've got to replace that false evidence appearing real with faith. Faith is the opposite of fear. Y'all, that's why I always tell you, stay present in your healing. Peel everything back, y'all. And always, 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 always keep the faith.